So here's a story I get to tell now. And then we'll get back to the history of work and whatever. But I was reminded of this. I was having a text conversation with a friend, and I was reminded about this. There was a period for about 3 months where my back had decided to protest and actually needed a surgical repair to get better. That's not really the point of the story. I was a stay-at-home dad for 3 months with a back that needed surgically repaired. So I was in a lot of pain most of the time. The most comfortable thing I had going on was laying flat on my back with my legs up on the sofa. And that was very painful. And that was absolutely my best option. I was still able to be primary caregiver for my boys, which was amazing and wonderful and great, and loved every second of it. The bear was still on oxygen. So wherever he went, he had to carry his it was just part of how he walked. He walked with his oxygen line, his oxygen tube in one of his hands so that it didn't pull at his throat, obviously. And that's just how he walked around the house. And he could get anywhere in the house. It wasn't a 5-foot tube. I mean, it was like this, I'm exaggerating, 9-mile long tube. And he could go anywhere in the house he could get. But he needed to be on oxygen. That was just part of being the bear at the time. So, because in his earliest days, we were told that he may never speak because the whole trach thing and everything. We started teaching him baby sign language, the American Sign Language for babies. So he learned words like more. That was the first word he ever used. He used that when his mom and I were singing one of the silly songs to him, and he would sign more, and we'd sing it again, because anyway, so his brother came along, and his brother, the moose, really helped the bear advance physically and I want to say psychologically or maybe even I want to say intellectually. I'm not sure. But the moose would do something and the bear would learn how to do that thing so he could be like his brother, I think is what was happening. I wasn't in his head. I don't know. Right. But the moose learned to do a whole bunch of things before the bear did. And as soon as the moose learned them, the bear learned them too. And it turns out the bear did learn how to speak. And it turns out that even to this day, as much as I love that kid, the bear never fucking shuts up. So they were in that period, and I was home, like I said, with a bad back, laying on the floor with my feet, my legs up on the sofa. And they're in that period of a baby's life where They speak some English, and they speak some baby, or whatever it is they speak. And then my boys also signed with each other because they were learning sign. So it was about a third of each, right? And so I'm laying there on the floor, and they're standing there in the hallway, 20 feet away or so, on the other side of the room. And they're talking to each other. And the hands are flying, and the noises are being made. And sometimes you understood what the noises were, and sometimes you didn't. But they understood each other very, very well. And they're standing there, and they're talking to each other, this whole complex thing. And they're glancing at me, and they're looking at each other, and they're glancing at me, and they're looking at each other. And I'm just sitting there, just thrilled that my boys are communicating, right? Even if I don't understand it, they're obviously communicating with each other. And that's just, couldn't be happier. Then they turn towards me. The bear grabs his oxygen tube, and they, as fast as a 2 and 3 year old can, sprint across the living room and jump on me. Full body, the flying through the air, landing on the dad thing, right? And they, I'm guessing, were talking about who was going to get what part of the body, because one of them got my shoulders and one of them got my belly. And that was probably one of the most single painful moments of my life, and one of the proudest. Because no matter how bad it hurt to have them attack me, which is basically what it came down to, because they were little kids. They didn't know that I couldn't move without hurting myself. They saw an easy target on the floor. They talked to each other. They decided who was going to get what, who was going to attack which part of the body, and they executed a flawless plan. I could not have, in that moment when they landed on me, been in much more pain or any more proud of my boys. Sorry, short one today. That's all I got. Stay blessed.